Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this TradeStation Getting Started. Thank you for being here. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. Always a pleasure to be here to talk a little bit about TradeStation, some of its services, and trading platforms. Today, we're going to talk about OptionStation Pro. So the title of today's presentation is Strategize Options Trading with OptionStation Pro. Before we get started, the usual disclosures, just keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. If anybody needs a little bit more information on these disclosures, go to tradestation.com/important information. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and talk about OptionStation Pro. One thing that I want to point out is that you all have access to the chat tool right here in Zoom. So make sure that you send messages or send questions through the chat, and I'll address those as we go through the content. All right. So thank you. Make yourself comfortable, and let's go ahead and switch over to my TradeStation platform. This is a TradeStation desktop. If you are new to TradeStation, you already know that we provide different trading platforms in which you can trade. This is the desktop version, which is the one that has OptionStation Pro. OptionStation Pro is not part of the mobile app, although, and this is important, you can still load up option chain and trade options within the mobile app, or you can do those on the web trading platform as well. It's just that OptionStation Pro has a little bit more advanced tools in terms of analyzing risk reward graphs or setting up options analytics a little bit differently, a little bit more advanced than mobile and web trading. But you can trade all those assets on all the trading platforms. What I was trying to say at the beginning that is that yes, you need to explore and see which platform is the one that fits your needs. There's not one that is better than the other. But if you're looking for more advanced tools or analytical tools, then maybe the desktop is the platform that you want to be on. Okay, so from within TradeStation Desktop, all you need to do to find OptionStation Pro is come here to Apps, and OptionStation Pro is going to be one of those buttons. Here it is. I'm going to click it, and it'll open up OptionStation Pro as a separate platform. We do that so that you can have, the whole screen for OptionStation Pro. Now, I have a lot of things going on here in my OptionStation Pro. I was doing some analysis on an iron condor, and this is what I'm looking at. So OptionStation Pro does remember what you were doing last time you had it open, and then it'll try to bring you back to where you were so that you can continue your work. In this particular case, this was a long time ago because it was before the holidays, so I really don't remember what it was. So I'm going to clean some items here. Oh, by the way, if this is the first time you're looking at OptionStation Pro, you're going to notice that at the bottom, you have four different tabs. Right now, I'm on the Analysis tab, which is the one that is highlighted in blue, but you're always going to be in one of these tabs. So if OptionStation Pro doesn't look quite the same from the last time you were using it, it's probably because you are in a different tab. Just make sure that you click on the tab that you want to be on. So on this Analysis tab is where I'm going to look at P&L graphs for any options positions, and I'm also going to look at real options positions and simulated positions. To clean this out, well, one thing that I want to point out is right here, this bottom section. If you notice, it says positions and simulations so that we can understand the difference. And since I have both positions and simulations for AT&T, this is the symbol that I have in my OptionStation Pro. I just want you guys to understand what's going on down here. The top section are my real positions. So I have an equity position of 500 shares and I have an equity position of 1,000 shares. These two positions are separated because they were traded in a different account each. That's why they show up twice. But if I open up this equity, this is a long trade for 500 shares of AT&T. I'm not sure if it shows the account that these were traded on. Maybe not. Let me go ahead and collapse. And the other equity is again AT&T. It's going to show me equity positions on this particular symbol. And as I said before, they show separate is because I traded them on separate accounts. I also have I have five puts, and this one is 110. Are these contracts? I believe so. Yeah. Not sure why I have 110 contracts of that one, but those are real positions that I can trade from here from the analysis view. This section at the bottom is my simulations, and you can see how the color difference, I can tell by the color difference. My real positions have font that is a particular color. So you'll see the black background with blue font or red font. Those are my real positions. My simulated positions are the ones that I create ad hoc, or if I want to do some testing, have a color background with white font. Now this one right here, this iron condor, I can remove because it's a simulated position. So I can just right click on it and I can say delete position and just clears it out. I can bring it back into the analysis at any moment, but that's how you remove any simulations. Now my real trades here, if I right click, yes, I have the ability to close it from within the analysis tab. And I may want to do that, but for now, let's just go ahead and change the symbol. I'm going to come up here and change this to, let's say I want to do AL. AL is American Airlines. As you can see, it loads American Airlines right here at the top. And at the bottom, I don't have any real positions or any simulations. So I haven't traded American Airlines yet. We have a middle section here called price slices. They help me analyze different scenarios. I'm going to get those in a little moment, but here on the left, on the right-hand side, you have access to remove those slices. We'll bring them back once we start doing some additional analysis. Let's go and trade some spreads or options for American Airlines. I'm going to come here to options. All right. And a few things that I want to point out. Right here at the top, we have information on the underlying. American Airlines is trading at $14.54. That's the last traded price. We have historical volatility for American Airlines, which is 53%. Now that's pretty high. I'm not sure what's been happening to American Airlines, but at 53% volatility, historical volatility is pretty steep. Now, one thing about historical volatility is the amount of data or the amount of history that we're looking at, because that will have an impact on the volatility value. Let me go over here to this cogwheel because this will give me access to the volatility look back adjustment. If I come here to common, and here's the historical volatility bars back, it's looking at 30 days. If you want to increase that or decrease that, you can do that. Now, if I do, give me the historical volatility for the last 15 days. If I do that, there hasn't been much change here in historical volatility. But if I change this to 90 days, for example, you can see that it drops from 53 to 45%. So it's based on how much data we're giving this historical volatility calculation. Again, the default is 30 days. As soon as you change it here, it should automatically calculate there. All right. In addition to that, you have a spread selector right here on the left-hand side that I'm going to switch to single because there's a few things that I want to show you. Right now, I'm showing 20 strikes, so 10 above and 10 below. I can increase that if I want to. And in addition to that, I see all the expirations going forward. The one that is closest to today is going to be at the very top, and the farthest is going to be at the bottom. Here we have some options that expire in the year 2028. You just have to click on the caret and you can see that it opens up those options for you. The groupings that are in a lighter shade of gray are the monthly expirations. The other ones are weeklies or dailies, depending on the terms that are available for that particular underline. But you can see what the term is based on that qualifier. And here on the right-hand side, we have average implied volatility. So let's go ahead and collapse this December 25th. This is the December 19th of 2025. You can see how the implied volatility of those options is 47%, a little bit lower than the historical volatility for the last 30 days. If you look at the weeklies, though, look at the ones that are expiring December 5th, have a implied volatility of 65%. That is just average of that grouping. And over here on the right, inside parentheses, you have expected move, which is interesting because you have the probability that American Airlines will be within a certain range. How far up or how far down is American Airlines expected to move based on its volatility? And that's a number that's right there inside parentheses. Let me open up The ones that are expiring soon, December 19th, those are the monthly ones. You can see the strikes right here in the middle. If I want to do 1 month forward and still be on the monthly time frame, I can click on January 16th and here, let's go ahead and look at the January ones. Yeah. And I see the strikes right here. Let's say that we want to buy a call with a strike price of 14. Those calls are being sold for $1.27. Now, in addition to looking at the price of that option, you also see its theoretical value. Now, I don't have theoretical value right here in the columns that I can add it. If you come over here to the wrench icon, which is the configure, I can customize the column and I can see theoretical value right here. Let me go ahead and just add it. And I'm going to put theoretical value next to, I'll put it the very first column. I'm going to click OK. So this is my theoretical value right here. Perfect. In this particular option, you can see that the theoretical value is $1.36. So buying it for $1.22 is a little cheaper than what the theoretical value is giving me here. Of course, you can see how the implied volatility, which is 45%, is a little bit lower than the historical volatility of options, the historical volatility of American Airlines. If I were to trade something like the ones that are expiring on Friday, let's take a look. Now, the 14 still trading. See, the 14, the same strike price is being sold for 62 cents, which is a little higher than its theoretical value. And that's all because of that implied volatility being higher than the historical volatility. So it's interesting how we can look at theoretical values also in alignment with the current bid and ask to see if the options are fairly priced, overpriced, or underpriced. So if I click on the $1.24 here, it's going to highlight that in blue. Not only that, but it'll also pop up the trade bar from the bottom, assuming that you want to trade it. It just gives you a very nice visual. If you look at what happened here on the strikes column, you also see this green and red bar that tells you where the break even is and where the profitability of this option needs to be. So you can see the break even is exactly where the line turns from green to red or red to green, depending on how you're looking at it. But you can see that the price of American Airlines needs to go up in order for you to be on the profitable side of that trade. If the price goes down, you're going to be on the negative side. And this red green indicator shows up on any options trade that you're going to enter. Let's say, for example, that I want to buy this 14 strike call, but I want to pay $1.20 instead of $1.21. I'm going to come down here. I can enter the price here myself. I can use the natural or mid price buttons here as well. Let me go ahead and drop it here to $1.20. This will be just for today. And I'm just going to send and place the order. Order filled. Okay. I sent the order and it got filled immediately. So it did, even though they were asking $1.22, that somewhere in the middle, somebody decided to buy it. I'm not sure what I got filled at, although if I look right here at the bottom, okay, this is an issue with the trading simulator. Notice that my 14 call, I wanted $1.20, but it got filled at $1.08. Now that is doesn't seem that it's accurate, but sometimes we have issues on the trading simulator. So it seemed like it filled me at a price far away from what that's being traded at. But that's okay. This is just a trading simulator, and it's meant to be just that, just showing you how you can trade and how the functionality works. On a live setting, the order would go to the market and have a more accurate execution than what we would have on a simulator. But over here on the left of my OptionStation Pro, I see the +1 letting me know that I'm long that call. And I can probably, let's take a look at this trade first because I want to see where it is and how I can manage it. Let me go here to the Manage tab. In the Manage tab is a place where you look at order activity and you also look at any open positions you have. Now, on the order activity, you can see how my orders are filtered by queued and by filled. In this filled order, take a look. This is my American Airlines call with the strikes of 14. I wanted $1.20, and my filled price is right over here on the right, $1.08. If I come down here to the positions section, not only do I see my open positions for American Airlines, I also see open positions on all the equities that I have connected to this login. Now I have multiple equities accounts. If I open up, for example, what we looked at earlier at the beginning of this presentation, if I open up AT&T, you'll see all the different positions that I have for AT&T, including the two that I have on separate accounts. Oh, here's where I have the account numbers or the simulated account numbers. And you can see that the two AT&T positions are on separate accounts. And that's why it shows two of them. But I see my American Airlines right here. This is my position. Right now, it's the open P&L is $12. Now that's based on my fill price, of course, and what the last traded price of that call is. Now, let's go ahead and do something. Let me go back here into my options. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a spread. Now, this is legging in into a spread, and then I'll show you how you can build it manually. But if I want to sell, let's say that I want to sell the 16, I can sell it for 37 cents here. I'm going to click it here. And for this particular order, I'm just going to fill it at market, place the order, and say yes. Order filled. So I get filled. And let's go back to the Manage tab. And you can see that I have my two legs right in there. I know that conceptually, if I put those two legs together, that would be a vertical spread. We bought a lower strike and we sold a higher strike of the same expiration. That's a spread. In here, they show up separately. I traded them separately, but I can combine them. I can click on one of the legs, drag it, and drop it on top of the other. And that gives me a vertical right here. So as soon as you combine legs that fit a certain spread characteristic, it'll recognize it as that spread. So this is a vertical. If I open this up, then I'll see the two legs that make up that vertical. From here, I can right click on that vertical and I can analyze a duplicate of that position. If I do that, it'll send me here to the analysis tab, and notice that it'll give me the vertical as a simulation. I also have the vertical up here as the real position, because I do have the real position, but I can also do a simulation. In fact, if I didn't have to really add the simulation, I could have just analyzed the real position. Let me go ahead and delete my simulation, open up my vertical and click it, and that gives me the graph for that vertical. Okay, a few things that are going on here. It tells me where the profitability of the option spread is. So I want the price of American Airlines to go down. So right here at the bottom of this graph, prices of the underline, I'm going to click and drag to squeeze the prices a little bit more. So we can see a little bit more of the prices right there at the bottom of American Airlines. A few things that are happening here. I see multiple lines that represent different time frames. The yellow line is giving me the value of this options right now. The green line somewhere in between today and the expiration. And the blue line is just giving me plain expiration. How do I know that? I've been using OptionStation Pro for long, but if you look over here on the top, you see the legend. For the yellow is now, for the blue is January 16th, and for the green, January 5th. Does that make sense? And you can make analysis of any time frame. Let's say, for example, that you are bullish, American Airlines. And I think I may have said this backward just a moment ago, but I want American Airlines to go up in order for this spread to make money. That I probably said that I needed to go down. But looking at the graph, yeah, we want to be up here, which means that American Airlines needs to go up. But let's say, for example, we don't want to wait until January 16th or the expiration of the option to get out, but we still want to know what is the potential profit. If we were to wait for expiration, you can see that on that little box that follows my cursor, you can see what the blue line maximum profit would be. It's $126. That's the maximum that this particular spread can make me. But if you don't want to wait until expiration, let's say that you're a little bit more conservative and you want to see what the potential would be, then we have to look at time frame here. So let's go ahead and change the time frame of that green line. The green line right now says January 5th. Let's say that we want to wait until the end of December. I'm going to come over here into the cogwheel and go to the graph tab. And this allows me to switch and drag the calculation of that green line. As I drag this little slider, take a look at the date right here, because I'm going to be looking at the date and making sure that it aligns with the last day of the year. So I'm just going to drag it here to the left a little bit. That's January 4th, January 2nd, January 1st, and December 31st. There we go. Now you can see how the green line says December 31st, and I click on close. And now the green line is showing me a evaluation of the option spread as of December 31st. Now let's talk about pricing now. Let's draw up different scenarios. If you go here to this drop down on pinned, this will give you different scenarios if, for example, American Airlines were to drop 5%, what the valuation would be if it keeps the price at the last or fixed at the last price, or if it went up 5%. Let's go ahead and do this one and see what it looks like. As soon as I do that, three vertical lines in yellow and its corresponding price right here on the scale. 1447, you can see that it's pinned to the last traded price. So as that updates in real time, you see the lines shifting left and right. And you can see how that is displayed right here in price slices for you automatically. Now we are looking at the values of the yellow line now. And if American Airlines were to drop 5%, we're looking at a $15 loss right now. This is pretty cool because you're looking at valuation of the option today. Remember, there is a time component of the options that plays a big part in the valuation of those options. So the more time you have, the more time value there is in the option. But at the same time, it's not until the trade develops and you're closer to expiration that the maximum potential profits starts kicking in. If I want to change the plot here, I can. Let me go ahead and set it to plot number 3, which is the green one. So that's a nice indicator that you've switched it to December 31st, and you can see how the P&L changes based on that. So we want American Airlines to go up, and if it goes up by 5%, then we have a theoretical P&L of 36%. Now, of course, the shade of gray that you see in the background is the probability of movement. We already said that American Airlines has high volatility, so we have a 53% volatility. So the chances of American Airlines to move up or down from the current price is big. In fact, you can see that measured by that gray box. We can see that there is a chance that American Airlines can go down as low as 1140 or go as up as 11, this is 1860, 70. If you want to know the exact prices, this gray box is using two standard deviations, and you can see them right here on the top right. I can adjust the standard deviations, but I'm just going to leave them at 2 for now. One of the nice things that we have here is that we can use standard deviations in the calculation. Let me go ahead and set it to 1 and 2 standard deviations. So it gives me those slices based on the standard deviations. So you can see that now you can see the exact prices. There's based on 2 standard deviations. That's a 95% probability that American Airlines will be between $11 and $18. It's a big range, but that's all based on historical volatility. And of course, anything can happen to American Airlines based on its volatility, but you can see where the valuation is at that precise value. If I go here to the drop down and I go to plot 3, which is my holding period, you can see that if, in this case, American Airlines, if it reaches that price of $18 by December 31st, you're looking at a theoretical P&L of $123, which is not still the highest, which is 126. That's because that's only achievable at expiration based on the valuation of the option. Does that make sense? So as an options trader, having these tools for you to play different scenarios, it's great because now you have a better understanding of what the potential benefits are of holding a particular spread. And what are the risks also? Here, the maximum loss of this particular spread is $74. I'm just looking at that little box that pops up, and I'm looking at the blue line. It says negative 74. That's a maximum loss. Of course, I can take a look over here also where the vertical is, and you can see how the maximum profit is 126 and the maximum loss is 74. So sometimes it's just easier to look at the position itself to find maximum profit and maximum loss. All right. So let's say, for example, that we want to set a closing transaction on that trade. And we are saying if American Airlines drops to $14 right here, $14, I don't want to hold it anymore. So let's go ahead and I can drag any of these price slices and put it right at 14. Here it is. This is 14. So if by December 31st, it drops to $14, I'm going to set a closing transaction that takes me out. That's a theoretical loss of $23. Now, of course, because it can reach $14 before December 31st. So this is just a theoretical valuation at December 31st. If it happens sooner, then we could be looking at a smaller loss or a bigger loss, depending on so many different factors. But it just gives you an idea of what your loss would be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on that vertical and I'm going to say close this position. But I'm going to close the position. Notice how the trade bar pops up from the bottom. I'm going to close it at market because I'm not really sure what the price of the spread will be if the price of American Airlines drops to 14. I don't have that specific number. If you look over here on the price slices, of course, the value gives you an indication of what that price spread would be, but it's difficult for us to translate that into a price. We can say, yeah, 50 cents gives you a value of $50, but I'm not sure if that spread is going to be sold for 50 cents exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a market order, but I'm going to do an activation rule. And the rule will say if the price of American Airlines, I'm going to click on add here, is at or less than or equal to $14, not 1400, $14, then I'm going to activate the market order to close my spread. If I click OK, I've turned on my activation and then I place my order. So even though that's a market order, it's it's already sent to the TradeStation order execution network. It has an activation rule, and it's going to wait for the price of American Airlines to drop to 14 to activate that market order to close out my spread. If I go here to the Manage tab, I can see my active order. Let's go ahead and take a look. This is my received order. You can see that it's a vertical. Now, if I open this up, I click on the plus here. Notice how the action is a buy to close and sell to close. It's a closing transaction, and it's going to close both legs. Now, the price is the market order. This is just giving you what the mid and the natural prices are. And if I look over here on the right-hand side, now the advanced column is something that is not visible by default. I have to come over here to the wrench, customize columns. I'm going to add advanced and put it right here at the very end. When I click OK, and notice how advanced shows up. I'm adding advanced because advanced will give you the activation rule. This is a condition. CND stands for conditional order. I believe that's what it stands for. I've always thought that's what it stands for. A conditional, and the condition is American Airlines less than or equal to 14. STT stands for single trade tick. So as soon as there's a tick at $14, this will activate the order. So if you're using activation rules, I recommend that you add the advanced columns because it'll give you that extra information. And you can do that also with prices on both sides of the underline. So if it drops to 14, you can close at market. But what if it went up to 17? You can also close at market and capture some of those profits if you don't think that it's going to reach the $18 of probability. All right, so those are some of the features and functionality that I wanted to show you. I've been looking at the chat window and I don't see any questions, but I want you guys to explore all the functionality that is right here in OptionStation Pro. We have videos. If you come over here to the TradeStation desktop, and this is the TradeStation Today workspace available if you go to apps and you click on TS Today. That's how you access this workspace. And over here on the left, you have the videos. And there's one video, in fact, there's three videos that talk about OptionStation Pro. 14, 15, actually 13, 14, and 15 are all about OptionStation Pro. Load option chains, option trades, and then analyze risk reward option graphs. Those three videos, again, they serve as a refresher of all the information that we talked about here in this class. We also are recording this class and it'll be available for playback if you're looking for that. Let me just show you where that is. Let me pull up my browser and let me go to tradestation.com. And right here on tradestation.com, you would go to learn using TradeStation. Actually, from here, we have a getting started and we have masterclass as well. So you'd go to getting started. The getting started page was designed with different steps in mind, depending on where you are in the process of becoming part of the TradeStation family. You can click on any of these steps and it'll take you there. But if you want to learn the platform, you can see that there's a box here for our getting started sessions, which is this session that you're in. We repeat those sessions every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So please feel free to join us again next Wednesday. But here you have a watch archive button that'll take you to a recording of each one of our classes. I'm going to scroll down here and you can see that there's a total of 6 sessions that we do in getting started. OptionStation Pro is right here in the middle, but we do classes on the desktop, on web trading, on mobile, Futures Plus, on TradeStation Hub. So feel free to join us every Wednesday for a different presentation and the ability for you to ask questions. And that's the reason we're here, just to give you as much information as you need in order to get started with trading your TradeStation platform. All right. Thank you guys for being here today. Look at the events calendar or just go to learn and go to events and look at all the topics that are upcoming. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.